Okay, in this short video I'm going to talk to you about how to grid an image onto a canvas. Unlike gridding an image to a larger piece of paper, where you can cut the paper to match the image, our canvas is a fixed size. We cannot trim the canvas, so we have to find another way to do that. So I'm going to show you how to do that with a simple technique. But to start with gridding, basically it's taking your image and then dividing it, in our case, into 16 boxes. Now the more boxes you make, the more accurate your transfer of the drawing is going to be. But for our cases, 16 is enough. And so to achieve 16, what we're going to eventually do is divide our image down the middle vertically, and then each half we're going to divide in half again. And then we're going to do the same thing horizontally, and then each half we're going to do that again. And the way we do that is by folding the paper. So if you select your image, chances are the size is going to be very odd. So you might have 7 and 37 1,000ths here and 9 and 32 63rds there. Some crazy number. We don't want to have to sacrifice our aesthetic choice of the image to match the numbers. So we just cut it any size we want. I'm going to show you how to do that, so don't jump to this just yet because you are going to trim this. And then we find the middle simply by folding the image in half, piece of paper. And we find the half this way by folding it this way. And then to find the quarter lines, we fold the edge to the middle. So you're going to end up with a series of folds on your piece of paper, your image. And then I want you to draw those lines in. When you fold it, you're going to get white creases, but I want you to draw them in with pen or pencil so that your eye and brain can clearly see the shapes, so that we can look at the corners and the halfway marks and really judge the shapes that we're looking at and how do they fit into a box. All right, so that's the overall goal for what we're doing, but we're going to back up a little bit and I'm going to talk about how we transfer it to a canvas. So when you buy your canvas or you have your board, it's going to come pre-stretched to a given size. And so what we have to do is transfer this to this. Now we just simply divided this in half and then did it again this way and this way and this way. And mind you, you can't fold your canvas, but canvases will come in simple lengths, so 12, 20, 24, so they're easy to divide numerically. But if we just take a canvas that in this case is square and a picture that in this case is rectangular, you can see that if we just transfer it, we've literally squashed the picture to make it fit. So that the glass bottle in the middle here is much smaller and out of proportion compared to what we have over here. It has the same width, but a different height. So we don't want that. So what we have to do is since we can't change the canvas to fit the picture, we have to change the picture to fit the canvas, which is why I didn't want you gridding your picture right away. So how do we do that? So we begin by drawing a diagonal line across our canvas. Do this in pencil or charcoal and do it fairly light, don't do it too heavy. And then we take our picture, cut off the white, get to the picture to the point where you think that's what you want, and then place it in the bottom corner of your canvas. And you'll see wherever this line is technically the top corner, right? So this is the angle of this line is based on the ratio of the height to the width. So wherever you stop on this line will make the corner of a picture. And we can see if we look at our picture right here, this is where it hits the picture. So technically this is the upper corner and I would have to cut this off in order to make my picture that I have the same proportion as my canvas. But you can see that there's a problem because I don't want to cut this off. So what you then do is you take your picture and you move it around your canvas so that your corner right here lines up exactly where you want it to be. So one thing I can do is I can slide my picture down. And what that does is it gives you my upper corner, which is good. I've got my vertical side. And then all it means is that I have to trim my picture at this point. That's if I wanted it there. If I wanted my corner to be a little lower, then I'd slide my picture up. I would cut less off the bottom and a little bit off the top. So the object here is you move your picture around so that you've got your upper corner and you can see whatever fits in the corner of your canvas is what's going to be the proportion of your picture. So then you simply cut the bottom of that picture off. And that way you're going to get a smaller version of your picture. All right. So now we go over to the left side of the screen. Our picture will now look like this. So it's been trimmed to fit the diagonal on my canvas. And so this shape, this proportion is equal to this. It'll be a different size, but it'll be the same shape, which is exactly what we need. What we then do is we grid this, like I said, by folding down the middle, folding in the halves, folding this way, drawing the lines in. Then you come over to your canvas and you do exactly the same. And here you're going to be measuring your canvas. So it's 12 inches, that'll be 6, and 3, and 18, and that's 20, it'll be 10, and so on. And so now you have your grid over on your canvas. And then you transfer from box to box. All right. Now what happens if you get an image that's a different shape? All right. So let's say we have a horizontal image and we want to put that in our canvas. Look what happens when I put it in a corner. This is going to be my upper corner, which means I'm going to cut all of this off right here. Now, that might be okay. That might be what you want compositionally. That would work. But let's pretend it wasn't what you want. Let's say you wanted it, your upper corner to be more here. So what you would do is you would literally slide your picture over a little bit till you get to the point where you want your corner to be. And that's what you're going to cut off. And then again, anything that overlaps the canvas is going to be cut off. All right. So I'm sorry, let me just go back. So then you'll have a smaller picture like this, and you will grid this exactly the same way and grid your canvas the same way. So probably the biggest thing to pay attention to is make sure when you cut in your corners that you're making nice square, clean cuts and you're not cutting things on diagonals, because when it comes time to fold your picture, it's not going to look right. Okay, so that's the basic gridding method if you have a picture to transfer it to your canvas. If you have any questions, you can always email me about it. So for this assignment, what I would like you to do is to paint your ground first. So take your canvas and give it some kind of ground, just like in the painterly study that we did. It could be any color, but pick a color that you think looks good maybe with your picture. Don't use yellow because it's not clear enough to see. And use a tiny bit of liquid so that it dries relatively quickly. Then grid your canvas lightly. And you can do this with pencil, you can do this with charcoal, or you could even use paint, just very thin lines with paint. We're not trying to be super precise. We're trying to just lay down the proportions generally so that when we come to paint, we can make the adjustments that are needed. So then you proceed to paint the basic shapes. Don't do any details. Don't get really caught up in reflections and things like that. Just get the main shapes of your objects. And then if you did pencil, you can leave those grid lines. The act of erasing them will stretch your canvas and that they're so small. But if you did charcoal or paint, you can then wipe your grid lines away. Then we're going to let that dry. So give that another day, and then you'll be ready to start the day after. So that's it in a nutshell. If you have any questions, let me know.